哇，这个树要倒了。
Ay, mira cómo se mueve.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Planet X News. This is Scott from the Nibiru channel. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, it is June 13th, 2017. Climate chaos. Once again, major flooding in Veracruz, Mexico. And it is stretching down into the northern countries of Central America. Now, what I was just showing you was a quick preview of sinkholes swallowing up cars. Massive flooding right now in Veracruz, Mexico. The streets are like rivers. You can actually drive probably a large boat down the streets of Veracruz, Mexico. Ladies and gentlemen, the flooding around the world is absolutely chaotic and very intense, and it has been for the past 4 months. People are losing their lives on a daily basis. Small villages, towns, all over the world are being swallowed up by these floods. You know, moving into a lot of talk dealing with Planet X, going into the latter part of 2016, I mentioned numerous times about how the climate was going to change. Earthquakes, volcanoes, and flooding. We are seeing this major flooding, ladies and gentlemen, all over the world. It's happening now on a daily basis, but not just in one location, multiple locations. As I've mentioned before, just because you are not impacted by one of these events does not mean it cannot happen to you. But what's happening right now in Veracruz, Mexico is absolutely horrible. This is now stretching into some of the northern countries of Central America that are very prone to landslides and mudslides from these heavy rains. I was just reading a couple of reports of these landslides. They literally just wipe out entire small towns or villages, and people do lose their lives. But right now, these weather conditions that are coming from the South Pacific, making their way eastward, directly impacting Mexico and Central America, they're not going to get any better, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to get worse. And living in the United States, this is going to impact us. And I'm going to show you in a few minutes how the change in these weather patterns are going to be a direct threat to the Gulf of Mexico and the northern tier of the state of Florida. But let's take a look at more of this video coming out of Veracruz. Very, very bad flooding. Now, this was coming out of China. This was a major sinkhole that just opened up. It broke a major mainline water pipe and just absolutely devastating. This sinkhole just opened up. Ladies and gentlemen, you can see the size of this hole. It is massive. And this is in Nantong, China. And this was just on the 11th of June. Let's see what else they have.
哇！公元2017年6月7號，不可以講龍咳水難得一見幾。喂，咪坐小嚟啊！跳啲好扭啊！
Okay, once again, yesterday or the day before, over in China, massive water spout. Ladies and gentlemen, the climate chaos, like I said, it's not going to get any better. It's going to keep all of us that report on these events very, very busy going into the beginning of the summertime months in the northern hemisphere. But going back to what is occurring in Veracruz, you can see this very, very long weather pattern. You can see the intensity of the rain and how far it stretches. Here's Veracruz right here. And believe it or not, they are not being impacted that bad like the other countries south of them in Central America. However, the rain was so intense that it created that flooding all of the streets in Veracruz. Ladies and gentlemen, you could have drove a boat straight down Main Street in Veracruz. But as I was mentioning, the way that these weather patterns are being created, the hurricane season, it's coming. Usually the weather patterns, and you see the hurricanes, they form out here in the Atlantic, making their way inland through the coast of Florida and up around here. We've seen it time and time again. But ladies and gentlemen, what I'm thinking and what I'm seeing with these weather patterns coming from the South Pacific, there's a very, very high chance that we're going to see a lot of hurricane activity forming instantaneously, or at least very strong tropical depressions in the Gulf of Mexico, forming from what is occurring and coming from the South Pacific. These will definitely impact possibly the coast of Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, all of these coastal states, including the state of Florida. A major city such as Tampa may be in direct line with several major tropical storms or hurricanes this hurricane season. And ladies and gentlemen, I've seen these patterns before. They will make their way directly across the state, possibly losing a little bit of intensification, but then catching some of the wind currents and moving directly into the South Carolina and southern North Carolina areas, impacting the coastline. I spent 22 years in South Florida. I think I know a little bit about hurricanes because I rode out 13 major hurricanes, including Hurricane Andrew. It's not fun. It's very dangerous, and the impact to people is devastating. But we are going to see more and more of this climate chaos around the world. There is absolutely no doubt, ladies and gentlemen. Our Earth is wobbling. It's very, very intense. Our jet stream is completely out of whack, both in the northern and the southern hemisphere. That much is a fact. The brown dwarf stars related to Planet X, ladies and gentlemen, they are affecting our planet. There is no doubt. We have major issues with our sun that we have to keep our eyes on 24 hours a day. We now have to keep our eyes on weather situations around the world 24 hours a day, volcanic activity included. The time, I believe, is now. No matter where you live on this planet, I do believe that you should have some type of emergency plan for yourself and your family. I truly believe that the sign of the times, this is what we're living through. I don't know about any of you. I can speak for myself. But in my 49.5 years on this planet, I've never seen anything like this in my life. I've been investigating Planet X, Nibiru, Nemesis, again, whatever you want to call it. I've been investigating this since my early days in college, going all the way back to 1987 and 1988. And there was very, very little information back then. But now information's pouring in. Technology is different. Access to information is much better. And now with the help of our physicist, things are becoming more and more clear. No matter where you live on this planet, ladies and gentlemen, in one way or another, there is a direct threat. And eventually, it will impact your life. Don't be scared. Be prepared. This is Scott from Planet X News. Thank you for watching.